Thank you so much for Hello, thank you so much for having me, Brenda, in APMP Chesapeake. My name is Eileen Kent, and this is Marketing Tools that will open doors for your federal sales team. So we're going to have a little bit of fun today. My name is Eileen. I've been teaching federal sales for quite a while and been working with many different companies through my three-step program, about 350 of them. And we've had to go through a couple of things as we're going into this marketplace. And we're going to have a Q&A session when I'm done. We're going to kind of go through the PowerPoint presentation for now and the points that I want to cover. But we're going to be wide open for questions, and hopefully we'll be talking about marketing and sales and all kinds of things. But the things that we need to kind of first start with is understanding the doors that our federal salespeople are up against and helping them, giving them some keys that will help them open those doors. That's the goal for today. And one of the things I like to talk about is marketing helps build brand names, and brand names build trust. And therefore, the salespeople that are out there, they need these tools to create trusting, long-term relationships in the field. So where do we begin? What tools do we need? What's our approach? What's our tone? What's the style of our company? Are we upbeat and fun and silly? Are we serious? Is this secure? What is going to be our tone is critically important. What's our message going to be? Now, many people have all kinds of different ideas of what marketing to the federal government is. But what I think of is it's a myriad of items that create what I call impressions that you're making about your company. So whether a salesperson is picking up the phone for the first time and saying hello, or you have a post or social media up on LinkedIn, or you've created a video, these are all creating impressions about the type of company that you are, the type of expertise that you have. And as the marketing materials, the people that are building these marketing materials, you need to create a really consistent, strong, unique message for our salespeople. So first thing we need to do is kind of understand the doors. And I love to show this picture. I took a picture of this, and I'll tell you a little bit later about where this door is located. But doesn't it look intimidating from this angle? So when we look at this door a little bit later, you're going to realize it's an absolutely beautifully stunning door. But right now, from this angle, from salespeople facing this, they get nervous. And a lot of these historic buildings have these intimidating, big, gigantic doors. Or people pick up the phone and the doors might be someone that's answering the phone and not being the warmest person in the world. They might be a little intimidating when they first meet them. So we first need to kind of get an understanding of what are the barriers that salespeople are running into, and how can we, as marketing creatives, be able to give them some of those keys. So what is a door to salespeople? Well, I've got 4 personas that I'd like to bring forward to you. We'll start with the beginner. The beginner thinks the door is a barrier. Then we have the optimist who says, well, to me, a door is an opportunity. They want to kind of peek inside, right? The dreamer is like, I don't need any doors. I just need followers. And then we have the realist. As a taxpayer, I paid for that door. Walk through it. Our next question to our salespeople is, how do they feel when they face that door? Beginner, absolute terror. They have no idea what they're facing. The optimist might be curious. The big dreamer is going to be, hey, listen, forget the doors part. If we build it, they'll come to us. The realist, frustration. Eileen, I feel frustration when I look at that door. It's constant barriers. It's one door after another. Think of, registering yourself up on SAM door. That's what it feels like, right? Okay, register at each of our small business locations within our agencies. Those feel like doors. Oh, by the way, you need to have this certification or that contract vehicle. They all feel like doors. And sometimes we have fear, we have curiosity, but we have frustration as well. The next question, who's on the other side of that door? Beginner has absolutely no idea. They don't know what they're going to walk into when they open that door. The optimist is thinking, huh, there's a client behind that door somewhere. I'm going to find them. The dreamer, it's going to be my best friend. And by the way, they're going to be a fan too. And then the realist, security. Security is behind that door, Eileen. So, how should sales executives knock on that door? What's their approach? Let's ask them. How should we knock on the door, beginner? I don't know, just walk in? Do I just click and open it? The optimist, tap on it gently. The dreamer, who needs to knock? They'll come to us. We're so famous. We're influencers. Everybody follows us on LinkedIn. They will find us. The realist, unless you pound, they're never going to notice you. Next question. What do we do when the door opens? The beginner, I have no idea what I would do. I think I would freeze. Have you ever seen some of your sales? It's finally their opportunity to either ask a question or they're introduced or they're brought in and they absolutely freeze. They call that in acting going up because they forget their lines. They have no idea what to say. They panic. And new people tend to not know where to begin. And some brand new owners selling to the federal government, they're really good at what they do, but God forbid you make me sell myself, you know? So it's absolute terror that the beginners are experiencing. Now, the optimist might just simply say, may I come in? I might ask for an introduction and ask for an invitation or ask to come through the door. The dreamer, forget going in the door. Have them come out and go on a walk with me. Let's go to our event that we're hosting. Let's go to a networking event. Come out with us and chat with us offline. The realist, they already have someone doing what I do. So why in the world would they even open it in the first place? I bet you're dealing with some of these different personas in your office. And as a marketing person, you have to somehow arm them with what they need. So in marketing, we must arm our salespeople with the right keys to open those doors. And by the way, I just have to tell you, this door knocker just kills me. It's so cute. A woman named Mary Olivieri out of Chicago. She works for CBD Marketing. She's the president of CBD Marketing. And she was in Paris and took this picture. She's a Second City performer and a teacher. So she's extremely funny. So when I saw this door knocker, that was the door was knocking on itself, I had to put it in this presentation for you. So key number one, we've got to get to know our customers. So I've got a little cartoon for you created by a gentleman named Mark Parisi. I got to share it with you. And if you haven't seen his stuff before, his website is Off the Mark. And you can buy his little cartoons, I think for 75 bucks a presentation. He's so affordable. Anyway, I love this cartoon that he does. It's like you don't even know me. Here's Cookie Monster. He's telling, I mean, even his name is Cookie Monster. And someone brings him crackers. You know how frustrated the federal customers are when we haven't done our homework? When we go to their agency and they say, hi, I sell construction, and that agency doesn't handle construction at all. Hi, I create IT, and they're a hospital that they're not buying IT at that location. They're buying medical supplies. So the federal customers, probably the biggest frustration that they share on a regular basis to industry, stop calling on me if you don't have what I need. You don't have cookies. I'm Cookie Monster. Don't bring me crackers. Don't try to sell me crackers. I need solutions to the area of expertise that my team has. And we have to do our homework, federal sales and marketing people. So marketing has to start to build a story for our company. So I'm going to ask you a few questions and kind of get the conversation going for yourself that you can take back to the office. Who are we? Who are we as a business? Who are our clients? So if you haven't been selling to the federal government, who have been your clients in the past in commercial? So for example, I used to do temporary office furniture. So a lot of my customers were the real estate people and the facility managers. Who are the equivalent in the federal government? It might be, I don't know, public building services. It might be Army Corps of Engineer, NAVFAC, the people that are handling facilities for the other agencies. So who are we? What are we good at? And who are our clients? Next question. What pains do we heal? And I want you to think about it. Go back through some of the past performance of the area of expertise that you're in. And I want you to look at some of the stories. How did you save the day for some of your clients? What are the best things that you've done in your career to solve a client's problem? Now, many clients that are out there, federal and customers, they're already using somebody else to solve their pain. But maybe they're having more pain than they realized using that other vendor, because maybe there's something specific that you do that's unique that solves a higher pain that they didn't even know they had. So for example, think about what you get in the mail every once in a while. Do you ever get those advertisement, do you have knee pain? Do you have elbow pain? Do you have trouble sleeping? You never thought of that until someone planted that in your head. And then you're suddenly going, my knee has been clicking lately when I'm walking. And then you're like, where's that flyer again? So marketing, we've got to identify what are pains that we solve, because those are the things we're going to start tapping on out there in the marketplace. Are you in this pain, or did you even know you had this pain? Or if this goes wrong, this could happen, and we can keep that from happening for you. So think about the pains that you heal. The other thing I want you to think about is the timing of the cyclical timing for your business, because the way your business works might be different than the timing that the federal government has. So for example, if you're in construction, summertime in the Midwest is the best time to do construction. Well, when are the bids coming out? For federal government, those bids might be coming out in March, April, and May for construction in June, July, August, September, and October, right? But the end of the federal fiscal year is September, right? So you have to be calling on your customers first quarter, which is October to December, and second quarter, December to the end of March, to develop those relationships. So when the bids come out, March, April, May, they already know who you are. And you got to be able to scale up during those times. So you got to figure out your cyclical times along with the federal government's cyclical time when they buy what you sell. How do clients in the commercial engage in our services? The way the federal government buys what you sell might be a little bit different. So I found out, for example, in furniture rental and leasing, we would bill our clients every single month. In the federal government, they wanted to give us all 12 months at once. Not bad, eh? So it might be, your invoices might be different, the way you time how we do our services. And also as marketing people, if we have a contract vehicle, for example, like a GSA schedule, and they could easily buy utilizing the GSA schedule, well, unfortunately, a lot of the customers might not even know inside the government how to use a GSA schedule to buy what you sell. So your marketing materials need to express and train the customers how to find you, how to engage with you, how to hire you. If you have certain set-asides, you need marketing materials in your sales team members' hands so that they understand how to explain how to buy what they're selling to the feds. So that's going to be up to us. Why would the clients choose us? What makes us unique? Is it speed? Is it past performance? Is it a certain procedure that we follow in order, the way we deliver? For example, if we do staffing, maybe it's the way we do our background checks on our people and interviews. Why would clients choose us that make us unique? What makes us unique? Write those words down, marketing, because those are going to turn into what we call best values and differentiators. And we're going to be able to put those into the hands of our salespeople, because they're going to have to say these things over and over again. So let me give you an example. I was selling for a roofing company whose safety record was ridiculously good. The government takes a certification, they call it the EMR rating, and it's based on, I guess, the number of injuries a particular company would have. And a roofing company would have injuries, right? We had 3,000 roofers at our company, and we only had one broken arm 5 years before, which meant our EMR rating, which has to be below 1.0 to even do business with the feds, was a number called 0.56. And when we would tell our clients that in the federal government, they would go, that is ridiculously good. So what would they do? They would use that best value as an evaluation criteria when the bid came out. What's your safety record? When they wanted us, because we came in at such a good number, it smoked the competition. So I want you to think about what those best values and differentiators are about your company. And you're going to be putting that in your marketing materials over and over again and getting your salespeople to say it, because you're basically hypnotizing your clients. This is why us. And when they put the bid together, they're going to incorporate some of those best values into the specifications. These best values can't be things like we have integrity or we're the best. Well, the best according to whom? Okay. It needs to be provable and quantifiable. And it's got to be, you've got to make it important to the client. So here's some reasons again, the sales team needs this information because it gives them confidence to be able to find the clients. It gives them confidence to look for the people who are in the pains that we solve. And also it helps them approach the clients at the right time. And by providing them with a process on how to close the deal, the salespeople have those tools in hands on closing the deal. And also with the best values, that salesperson is going to be communicating over and over and over again why we're unique. Not just that we're quality, but why specifically. Why we're the safe bet. So give the clients the tools to justify why us, maybe even at a higher price. It's not just low bid anymore when you have special best values that are unique and it's what they want. These people are safe. They have a great safety record. So we're going to pay a couple bucks extra because we know that we're not going to have to babysit these roofers on the roof on how to, clip on to the roof and not fall, right? So we have to make it important, marketing people, to get that word out. So there's some tools that we are going to need to put into the hands of our salespeople. The very basic one that everybody talks about is our capability statement. And I'm not going to go down that whole rabbit hole. I could talk about this for an hour, but I do have a template. You can easily private message me on LinkedIn and get a copy of it. But you're going to need a 1 to 2 page. There's different schools on, should it be 1 page? Should it be 2? Let me tell you, what I like in a capability statement might be different than the next person, but I find capability statements that have a lot of white space that allows the person that's meeting with you, especially if you put it in front of them, if they have white space where it's easy to read and they're able to take notes on that capability statement, they appreciate that. So easy to read, very direct. It's got to have all your SAM information. It's got to have your North American classification codes, your PSC codes. But I also have a little tip on that one. So write this down. When you create your capability statement, don't call the document capability statement.pdf. You know why? Because if the buyer downloads that, she has about 20 of those on her desktop that just says capability statement. So you need to call it what you do first, who you are, what your set-asides are, and contract vehicles. So for example, let's just say, for example, I'm going to just say federal sales action plans by Federal Sales Sherpa, GSA schedule, woman-owned business, CAPES 2024. What you do, who you are, set-asides, contract vehicle. So then if they have a pile of them on their desk or they have them in a file, they're going to say, who's the one who does federal sales action plan? Oh yeah, Eileen, that's right. The federal sales Sherpa, that's right. Federal sales action plans is what I do first. And it might be, let's say restoration or temporary furniture or construction or Microsoft Solutions, Azure, PowerPoint by CRM America.pdf, something like that. So if you name it, then they can find it easily. I taught this class in front of all the Apex accelerators, and they made me stop and say that statement like 3 times so it would stick. So also you need to have a dedicated website that basically talks about government business. And you also want a downloadable hot link at your website that downloads the capability statement onto their desktop. So you want a hot link on your web page with your CAPE statement that they can easily download that CAPE statement to their desktop. Now, if you happen to have a little mini video that features your staff or maybe shows your manufacturing plant, anything that might be really interesting to the eye that introduces you to the team, that could be kind of nice to do something like that. And also, don't forget, if you have a contract vehicle like a GSA schedule or a GWAC like 8A stars, make sure there's the number of it is on your website and someone can click on it and it will take you directly over to your listing in GSA. So you want to hot link your GSA schedule number to open up your GSA schedule on eLibrary. If you use the GSA logo, take note of this. If you're on GSA and you're using their logo, do not use the square logo that says GSA with the little star in the A. That is their logo. You want to be able to use the GSA contract holder logo. That's the approved logo for GSA. So the next type of tool that you're going to want to start to build is a really fun and easy 5 to 10 slide capabilities briefing that you can modify for each briefing that you have. Because if the customer invites you in, they're possibly going to want to ask you to do some sort of capabilities briefing. So you're going to want to be able to share, what you're good at, what your set-asides are, what your contract vehicles are, but you also want to share some past performance stories. So also when you have that capabilities briefing, if you have a couple slides on past performance, if you go in person, I want you to also have some pass outs. Pass out your past performance stories so that they can take them back to their offices and not only have your CAPE statement, your CAPES briefing, but some past performance stories. It really kind of beefs up what the salesperson has to give to the customer, but also the customer can use those past performances. Once again, when they build a bid, they might gear the past performance of that bid toward the past performances that you've done. So you want to arm your customers with those. If you happen to have any demo videos that are professionally done for your products or your software, that's great too, because it's easy hot links to share with people as well. So these are just some of the things I discussed in regards to what we just covered, just to kind of hit it home. But boy, if the sales team has some of these tools, it's just going to make it easier and easier for them to have great conversations, ask really good questions, and also they need to be modifiable for the salesperson. They might not have time to call you to fix something that's specific for a meeting that they're going to have. Please don't hand it to them in PDF. They might need to change it around a little bit too. So the next key is starting to put in social media. And I just want to do a shout out to Mark Amtower because he's the king of LinkedIn, black belt and godfather of federal marketing. So I just want to say hello to him because social media is a really great place to create corporate brand awareness. Now, it probably couldn't hurt to utilize keywords and phrases and start to teach your team what these, furniture in 2 business days, emergency furniture, whatever it is your hot button, what you solve in 5 words or less, so it can be said over and over again. These kind of things will help, but also start to write your posts based on pain. So when Brenda earlier said, Eileen's all over LinkedIn, and one of the pains that I solve, I'm just sharing this as an example. I'm not trying to sell to you, but one of the pains I solve is I'm trying to get people out of the bid, blind bid circle. I want people to build relationships and only write bids where they've been talking to the customer for a while. So I'm trying to get that in their brain. So I do a lot of posts about bid no bid decisions. Stop wasting your time on more losers. And I post a lot of fun cartoons about that stuff too. Because once someone wakes up from that, then they say, okay, if I'm not writing bids, I need to start selling. So that's what gets them to talk to me. But think about for you, what are the pains you solve, and start writing posts around those pains to shake out your leads in social media. Now, the agencies sometimes are on Facebook and Twitter, or they call it X, but I can tell you right now, it's LinkedIn all the way. There's well over 2 million federal employees on LinkedIn. It's pretty much the professional place where they can connect with you. I have never been turned down on a single connection that I've ever asked in the federal government. In fact, one time, I'm not kidding you, this is kind of a fun little story. The head of cybersecurity for Homeland Security posted, I'm about to go on stage to do a big presentation on cybersecurity. And he posted that on LinkedIn. And I just sent privately a connection with him and said, break a leg. And I said, I do custom keynotes. Do you need any pointers? And he says, hey, Eileen, oh, you do keynotes too? And I just said, make sure you're 6 inches away from the mic. And, so your P's don't, pop, and your T's don't, pop either. And your S's don't, And he talked about how nervous he was and then break a leg. And the guy was talking to me on LinkedIn about how to be cyber secure. And he was talking to someone he never met before, right before he's about to go on stage. So don't tell me they're going to say no to you about connecting on LinkedIn. They connect with everybody. You know why? Because they're watching for their own next opportunity as well. So also just make sure on LinkedIn that you create a corporate profile for your company. People like Mark Amtower are available to help you with stuff like that. He's like the king of making sure you look great on LinkedIn. Your corporate profile, and what you're going to want to do is the owner's profile also needs to be tied to the corporate profile, and make sure your corporate logo is on all the employees and all their profiles is tied to your company, so that when somebody looks at your corporate profile, they can see all the people that work for you, and they can also connect with your people. So then you're going to start writing postings from your corporate page, which allows the sales team to be able to put those out there and share. But let me tell you, your federal customers are not going to comment. They're not going to like, because they try to stay as neutral as possible. They're voyeurs. So don't think they're not reading your stuff, okay? Just put it out there, but they're watching the dynamics. They're watching the dynamics. And just understand that if you put this information and get all this in the sales hands, it's easy for the salespeople to share these posts, share these opportunities. They can participate in groups and associations on LinkedIn, sharing our brand, sharing our message out there. Now let's move on to associations. Hooray for APMP. I'm so glad we're all together here with APMP. Being part of an association is critically important, but I also want you to start thinking about, for your business, where are the end users that you're trying to get to? Where are they hanging out? So let me give you an example. Society of American Military Engineers is an association of facility managers and engineers with the federal government, all the military bases. So if you're selling facilities, anything to facilities, make sure you're a member of SAMI.org and go to their national event in November. They also have, I think, their technical event coming up in March as well. That would be your association that you really need to get involved in if you're in facilities. So develop association-based materials. Also think about creating some training for those associations. Maybe you are offering sustainable solutions that have to do with building envelopes. Well, right now, the federal government is talking about zero, footprint, zero sustainability, trying to get those buildings really, really energy efficient. Well, you might have some technical presentations you could do at SAMI events, right? So start to develop some training. And also don't forget, if you decide to create a trade show booth, make sure everything in the trade show booth ties together. So if you have a 10 by 10 foot space, make sure your marketing materials match the space, that your people are in the same vein as the way the space is, and boot the table. Get the table out of there, the tables and chairs away from the booth. I want your salespeople standing at the trade show, inviting people into the booth. We want your booth to be inviting and fun. And you don't have to spend a lot of money to do that, by the way. I one time designed a trade show display where the company had, I think they probably had $2,000 to put their marketing material together. It was an accounting firm that at the time had a system that allowed companies to be able to see their bottom line. And this was a while back, but what we did is we took a backdrop trade show booth that we could rent. It was like, I don't know, $100 to rent the actual backdrop. And we created a black backdrop and we created these eyeballs. They were just like a sticky little eyeballs that were Velcroed on the backdrop, and they all looked worried. So it looked like eyeballs in the dark, right? And the headline across the top is, do you know where your bottom line is? And then we had the team wearing black t-shirts with, you know where your bottom line is? And then they had the eyeballs all over the back of their t-shirts. Everybody at the show wanted one of those t-shirts. So it doesn't cost very much money to create a fun theme. And by the way, if you ever want to bounce fun themes off, I'm nearby. Reach out to me. I love having a circle up and talking about trade show ideas. They don't have to be expensive. Just make your booth exciting and fun and approachable. So the other thing too is put your marketing team, the fun people in the booth, and make sure you have, business cards. And in the government, you can't have giveaways unless everybody at the trade show has a giveaway, and they have to be worth less than $20. So it could be, a hand sanitizer, it could be a pen, it could be candy. I used to do things like, mini beach balls like this that we would blow up and, throw to people, and they put them in their bags or something fun as they're walking by. We've also done beads with the logo on the beads, fun stuff like that. But as long as you have enough for everybody at a government trade show, you can't just give them to one or two people. It has to be equal, and also under $20. Okay. So when sales has to be involved in the associations, and I highly recommend that the salespeople that are involved in the association are on the membership committee. Why? Because they get to meet everybody. And maybe they're part of the ambassador committee and they're at the networking events. So the sales at the trade shows and doing these training sessions, sales brings in program and project managers and your techies to be able to present technical issues to customers. Also, the owner, if the owner comes to the trade show, the owner should be walking the show, talking to teaming partners and going to networking events. They shouldn't have to stand in the booth all day long. They should be working the show, okay? The other thing I want you to think about marketing is articles, white papers, and different types of trainings. Come up with a really dynamic training that's tied to your business that you can get your subject matter experts in front of the customers. When I was working with a roofing company, we did solar, green, and cool roofing, okay? At the time, the president got on top of a roof and said, every rooftop should be green solar or a white roof, which is a reflective roof. And every project manager at Public Building Services had a small heart attack. Why? Because they have these 100-year-old buildings. Can they handle the weight of a green roof? Are they in the right sun for solar? Are you kidding me, President? Why are you saying this stuff, right? So we actually took advantage of that, and we went out and we went to Public Building Services region by region by region, training the project managers on sustainable solutions in the roof. Then when the bids came out later that year, they knew all of our subject matter experts when we sent in our bids. So coming up with a mini training can always help. When I was at the furniture rental company, what do you train on that? Well, when furniture rental makes sense. And I went from designer to facility manager, teaching them when to rent furniture and when it was not a good time to rent furniture. So come up with some key issues like that. Also providing technical information, as many as you can, answers to any problems or pains that they might be having. These white papers and these technical pieces cannot be a salesy. It's got to be scientific, and they call it white paper because it doesn't have all your logos all over it. it allows the technical person inside the government to walk it into their boss. Here's an idea. Here's a solution to a problem that we're challenged with. But it's not all these sales marketing stuff. It's actually a technical paper. So that will help them be able to communicate challenge. So, and also remember, these need to be customizable. So just a little bit of a reminder of what we just talked about. It also kind of starts to create scope issues. Like when we were going with the roofing company from location to location, talking about sustainable solutions in the roof, guess what happened after the meeting? Project managers would take our subject matter expert aside and say, I think I have a roof that's perfect for solar. Or I really want to do a green roof on this 100-year-old building, but I don't know if it can handle the weight. Can you guys come up on our roof and look? So it creates invitations for your subject matter experts to be pulled aside, and pain starts to come out. Pain starts to come out. Conversations start to happen. Then decision maker conversations and solutions start to happen. The other thing, marketing, a lot of people don't think about this, but your invoices and your agreements and your contracts should all be branded properly. They should all have your information and also be friendly, polite, inviting, and maybe even think of the packing slips. So if you are selling products, let's say, for example, I have a client of mine who does auto supplies, and they send out products all over the world. And what we did is we put a flyer on the bottom of every box that was packed. Hey, you're out of oil. Call us to refill. Or we would put, if they put stuff onto the shelf, we gave them a little marker on the last item that they could put and say, call us when you're out. You know, at the roofing company, they would put call 1-800-roofer on the portal, the door, when they would go up on the roof. There would be a 1-800 number on the roof for repairs. So think of those kind of things after delivery, ways that you can remind them. If you're out of this, give us a call again. The other thing you might want to think about is marketing coming up with reports and how those reports will look. For example, if we're hitting a milestone with a client and it's time to get paid, we're going to provide the contract information, but there might be a nice piece, a nice summary, a nice way that we can show how we're doing so far, and they could give us feedback on how we're doing. So customer surveys at milestones are going to be critically important because we need to start to talk to our clients about how they're rating us in the CPAR system. See, we eventually want to be asking for higher ratings than satisfactory. Okay. We strive to be exceptional is going to be a new saying in your office. We strive to be exceptional because that phrase exceptional is the highest rating you could get at the end of a project. And I've had clients where the agency doesn't ever give anything more than a satisfactory. That's their culture. You're going to get a satisfactory no matter how hard you work, right? But then they have a chance to put comments in. So I had a client where they got a satisfactory, but in the comments in the CPARs, it said, this company is very good. So that project manager got around the rating by getting his phrase in for very good. So we want to start, again, hypnotizing our clients. Are we doing a good job? Because eventually we're going to want to have letters of recommendations, testimonials from them. Now, we can't publish those testimonials if they're the federal government at our website. And we can't use those testimonials in a bid, especially if we're sending it to the same person buying from us, because they won't be able to vote for us, right? For an opportunity. But getting those privately so we can share them under the radar with future clients. Hey, listen, these are the people that are happy with us. It gives them an idea. So these are just some reviews of the things that I just said. I just want to also talk about, it is really important for marketing to start developing beautiful thank you letters for program and project managers inside the government that do a very good job. It's got to go on the letterhead of the corporation, signed by the owner of the company, sent unfolded. It's got to be flat in an envelope, not only to that person, but also to their boss, because that's going to go in their permanent file. And sure, you can't give them any gifts, but if you write a letter of commendation for the work they've been doing, they're never going to forget you. Never. Also, I want you to think about loyalty programs. Now, how do we take care of our loyal federal clients? Well, there might be client status that you bring them to. Maybe there's an elite status or a higher level where they get a better discount based on volume. Or there might be an extra service that you're able to provide because they're bringing you more business. But remember, you can't give them any presents. No gifts. No gifts. You got to find a way to show your clients appreciation for that repeat business. Find a way to enter in some early payment discounts or volume discounts just for them. And don't forget to nominate your customers for awards, especially if you're in the creative industry or construction industry. If there's an association that you can vote them in for a position in a particular organization, or you can get them an award for their work. This is where we start to create loyal customers. And marketing, you're probably going to end up having to write those award nomination documents for those customers. So we've got to start giving back to our clients as well. So with that in mind, I want you to look at this door. Even the FBI is open for business. Even on their door, that looks so scary. They're welcoming to companies that are doing a good job, that offers something and solves their pain. So now here I am back to the door that you saw earlier. It's actually an incredibly beautiful copper door, and it's at the Illinois State House in Springfield, Illinois. And if you see it front on, it's just spectacular. As you can see, it has these beautiful reflective glass too. So one of the things I want to share with you is, if we as marketing can come up with a mission that our salespeople are doing, that they feel like they're changing the world, or they feel like they're helping someone, they're not going to be afraid of knocking on those doors. They're going to want to bang them down. Let me give you an example. One of my clients offers a matrix of flesh. What do I mean by that? Sounds kind of gross, right? It's a piece of skin about this big, and it's adhered to burns and bed sores. Now, when he first came to me and we started working with him, his struggle was these surgeons are using tap water and gauze on bed sores for our veterans, and they're stuck in the hospital for 7 months. They can't go home. But if they spend $3,000 on this little piece of flesh and put it on them, they're home in 3 weeks. Okay? So what we did with the sales team is we started talking about the quality of outcomes at the VA and how this little piece of flesh is going to get our veterans home. And that got the sales team revved up and inspired and unafraid of walking the halls of the VAs and talking to people, because they're going to go talk to that wound nurse and stop using the gauze and the tap water to work on that bed sore. Use this piece of matrix, and that person is going home in 3 weeks instead of stuck in the hospital in this never-ending, unhealed wound. Literally, they healed pain. So every single company has a mission, and I'm not just saying offering quality services to our clients. No, it's got to be, what is the pain we're solving, and make it our salespeople's mission to get the word out there. So I want to thank just a couple of people before I move on. I just wanted to point out Mark Parisi, whose cartoon was that cute Cookie Monster cartoon. Mary Olivieri for her cool door knocker photo. But I also want to point out some great resources that can help you out with your marketing. There's Cheryl McCants, Impact Consulting Enterprises, Ron Vassallo at Captivate. Chris Brinker is great at Ocean 5 Strategies. I can't help but shout out to Mark Amtower, who can really help you out with your LinkedIn face forward activities and your page. He'll make you look terrific. And with that, I want to thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present to you today. It's been an absolute honor. And now we can open it up to questions.
Thank you, Eileen, for such a wonderful presentation. I was taking notes the whole time and thoroughly enjoying it. You know, maybe as speaker, my prerogative is to ask the first question, and then I'll ask everyone else to put their questions in the chat, and we will take it from there. Everyone's saying great presentation. So I was in a conversation last week and with some business developers, and they said one of their biggest challenges is the remote working situation. They used to be able to walk the halls, you know, and then, you know, talk to people. Now, when they, you know, they only have limited time to see their customer because when their customer is on site, they're busy in meetings. So what would you say to them? Oh, and Eileen, you're on mute. Still unmute. Let me unmute. Let me help her out and unmute her for a minute here. Okay. 1 minute, Eileen. To go into participants here and some got yourself on mute. So
Hello, how's that?
there we go. There we go.
All right. So first of all, I know that's a big challenge for a lot of you. And one of the things I just want to say is if you're starting to build a relationship with someone, sometimes just tagging them on LinkedIn, or not tagging them, but just knocking on their door on LinkedIn through LinkedIn's hello, their email. Hey, I'd love to talk to you offline about XYZ. And I've literally had Govies call me directly when they're walking outside their office to tell me what's going on. And then let me give you an example. One of my clients had a formal meeting booked with Health and Human Services. And I couldn't get into the meeting with them. I didn't get the invitation. So, and she was panicking because she wanted me to be there with her, right? So I just went to LinkedIn and said, hey, to the person that we were going to meet with, hey, I'd like to be in on the meeting. Can we talk a little bit about it and how I can get in before tomorrow? And I'm not kidding you. She gave me about an hour of her time to prep for the meeting. And we talked all offline on the opportunities that were coming down the pipeline for this particular company. She sent me the invite. And then when we actually went in the meeting the next day, of course, we only had 15 minutes. They had the timer, all that jazz, but we were prepared and she was already bought and sold on what we were doing right away, as well as her team. And then when I went into because it was like a back-to-back meeting with different people, in the next meeting, timed, which is really frustrating. The person, we started to do the presentation and he said, stop, I don't want to spend 15 minutes looking at your PowerPoint. You got me at hello. I already know who you are because you talked to this person offline. Let's talk about opportunities. And I was like, yes. So I find LinkedIn is an easy way to tap offline with someone that we're trying to have a quick little conversation with. So asking for a conversation that's offline, or I have a question. And the other thing I like to do too is I like to follow up on a regular basis. So if I reach out to them, especially if it's a brand new client that they don't know who the heck I am, the first call is basically, hi, my name is Eileen. I work for XYZ company. I've been assigned to your account. So what does that say? I'm not going away. I've been assigned to you. So I'm on you until you call me back. And I've been assigned to your account and I just want to make sure you're the right person that I should even be speaking to. That lets them off the hook. They can tell us they're not and who is, right? And then I basically give my quick little, this is what we do. And the purpose of my call is to find out a little bit more. I've done some homework. I know you buy what I sell from so and so and so and so. And if I don't hear from you by Tuesday, I'll call you Wednesday. What do? Boom, Wednesday, because they're not calling me back. Wednesday, hey, it's Eileen. And I'm not like, hi, it's Eileen. You didn't call me back. You know, it's, hey, it's Eileen. You're probably busy. I promised you I'd call you back on Tuesday. Just to remind you, I'm assigned to your account and I really need to confirm that you're the right person. And then I'll call you on, if I don't hear from you Tuesday, I'll call you Wednesday. It's Wednesday again. It's Eileen. You know, what happens in this business, it takes about 12 to 24, what we call impressions. That could be
Oh,
email, phone call. It could be a post that you did, a white paper that you shared. Every one of these are impressions. And it takes that amount of time before they finally go, okay, I'm going to talk to her because she definitely is assigned to me. So I'm going to point her in the right direction. She's done her homework. I'm going to point her in the right direction. You might get someone that's mean every once in a while, but most of the time, if you say it's my job to call you, so if you can help me out, point me in the right direction, and you're always kind and you're always positive and say, listen, I know you're probably slammed, and be yourself. So at some point, it's going to be a series of conversations. There might be an invite. Yeah, come on in. We want to talk to you. Or you might have a situation where you say, for example, I had a rooftop showroom. Hey, you guys want to come to our rooftop? And they're like, yeah, we'd love to get out of the building. So you got to be bold. I guess the best way to do it, and kind and friendly. And sure, they might be more serious people in their jobs and you need to, kind of match where they're at. But even the most serious people have dry sense of humor and they tend to tease a little bit. Another classic for me, I just wanted to tell you guys that this stuff happens every day. Someone might tell you, I'm not the person, go away, and you just call the person in the office next to them and you work around the office. Then somehow you're invited in, and darned if that first person isn't the decision maker. And then you're there and you're like, and they're like, yeah, I know, I got you tonight. Happens all the time. I have
oh
6
my
big
gosh.
brothers, and they like to have fun with us sometimes too. Some people don't believe me, but I've been doing this for 22 years, and we've got to find your rhythm, find your angle, be kind. If they're slammed or on maternity leave, understand that. If they're sick or they haven't been around or never called you back, you're like, are you okay? Are you still there? Show your heart. It's okay to be yourself. But eventually, if you have done your homework with the right agency, you're calling on the right agency, you can prove you've done your homework and that they're the right person and you're hitting the right pain at the right time, they're going to be like, get in here. Most of the time, we're not calling them at the right moment. Maybe they already have someone they're sharing an office with that does what you do. So they can't meet with you because they can't have you up there. I've had that happen. I've traveled to DC to meet with someone only for a lobby appointment.
Oh my
Why?
gosh.
Because they're sharing with the incumbent. They're sharing an office. But then the person goes, blip, blip, blip. Why do I hate the incumbent? I can't work with you, but I'm going to walk you over to this agency. I'm going to stick it to them. Had all these things happen, but you need to be persistent. And trade shows are great places to catch them, offline. Like at the Sammy show, if you go to that, everybody is going at the show, they're presenting, they're in the trade show, they're also at the bar. So
Yeah.
make yourself available, get to events, and get other people to introduce you to them.
Well, Eileen, it's at the top of the hour now, but this has been a wonderful, engaging conversation. I see everybody here on in the chat saying, great presentation, wonderful, great advice, well done. So I want to thank you. And it's just as a reminder, give me about 2 hours. It will be up on our YouTube channel, which you can find a link to that in the chat. So for everybody at the APMP Chesapeake chapter, I want to thank you, and we will see you, all the guests back here next month. Have a good afternoon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Oh, lots of good comments here. Bye-bye.